This is Upward Journey Bench on July 31st, 2021. So far, it's just Firecracker and myself, but the rest of the bench will be arriving very soon. So I'm really looking forward to today, and I have a very strong sense that the mandate for today will come out of the bench as a whole, not something that I bring to the bench. Sometimes I bring something, but sometimes it comes right out of the bench. That's probably the better way to do it. And that's my sense for today. So what's been going on for you?
You heard the lion gates open?
What's that?
The lion's gate?
Lion's Gate is open?
Yes.
Explain that for me.
I think, was it 2 weeks ago? I was looking at a huge waterfall. And then the water, it's golden water. And I was soaking, enjoying myself, and suddenly I gave out a roar and trembling. I've never seen a roar like that. Yeah, so after 1 week, I think this week, I keep hearing about the Lion's Gate. It's open.
Wow. Wow. Lion, ox, eagle, man. Now, Lion's Gate is open for you or for the universal ecclesia? I'm thinking that if it's open for you, there's also a need to open it for others. What do you sense?
I think it's for the whole world. So everybody's talking about the Lion's Gate open, and this week's Ascension, I saw a big, huge, giant lion, not in the usual color of the normal lion, but in a diamond color. Yeah, and the lion wasn't doing anything, was just being still there in a throne, on a throne. And then I saw a lot of animals coming out, surrounding the lion. And when this lion transformed into particles, like it's not a solid form, I see all the animals going in and out, like maybe, I don't know what it's called, maybe oneness. Yeah, and when the lion gives out a roar, it is the roar of all the beings, all the animals.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Bill. Good morning, Lydia.
Hi, Cindy. Good morning.
Hi, love you guys.
Oh, yes, love you too.
Blessings.
Lydia has been sharing an encounter that she's been having, and I'm going to actually ask her to save it a little bit until the rest of them come, because Lydia, I think that's going to be where we're going to go today. So you're bringing the mandate. That's wonderful.
Awesome. Lorna sends her regrets. She's got something she needs to do this morning. So just letting you know, Lorna's not able to make it.
Okay, so Lorna, we're missing you for today, and we know that you're part of us. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for passing that along. Okay. I'm just pausing a moment until anybody else is going to be coming today arrives. Cindy, what's been going on in your journey?
Well, just really blessed. The Father prevented the enemy from trying to do something concerning my physical body. And I know that, there were biopsies and tests and stuff, and everything is just perfect and just wonderful. So that's happened within the last 2 weeks. since I last spoke with you guys. I can't remember, but yeah, I have so much to be thankful for, and I can see the outworking of what we've been doing in the realms actually manifesting. There's been great manifestation on all levels in my life and in my daughter's life, my husband's life, and I see it. I can see it. The faith is reality. It is reality. And so I'm really grateful for that. And now I feel like I'm going into a sort of a season of great change, although it's always been sort of a transition going on with me. But now what I'm sensing, and I wanted to bring this question, I know you guys already have a mandate, but the question was concerning the book of Revelation and the end times, and what should we be waiting for? What should be our expectation? Because in my interactions with the so-called persons coming out of the church age or kingdom age, it has been quite draining, if I can put it this way, to try to explain to them that we must not exist in fear.
Yeah.
Decisions that we're making that are fear-based and not love-based. I even learned this in, working in a crisis intervention center for abused women, that when we're making decisions based on fear, it's like we're just going like a dog chasing its tail. It just becomes like literally it's just a horrible, tormenting place to be in, even for people in the church. And there are many Christians right now who are very fearful. And I haven't been feeling that. I haven't had this sense of trepidation and, oh my goodness, the world's coming to an end. And, it's literally like Father was showing me that even some Christians have wanted to take their life because of the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, something is wrong here. The doctrines of the church are literally, you know how Yeshua said in, I think it was Matthew 23, that you put on men burdens that are hard to bear. I think he was talking to the Pharisees.
Yep.
It's like, no, all that has to come off now.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, I don't mean to overtalk.
No, you did fine. That was wonderful. This is adding up into something. Hi,
Yeah.
Karen.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Jill.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Jill.
Hi, guys.
Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
Hi, let me just summarize where we are here. I turned the recording on right at the beginning as soon as Lydia always arrives first. And she shared that the Lion Gate is open. And then Cindy shares, she's asking about the revelation of Jesus Christ, last book of the Bible, and what are we to be expecting, what are we to be waiting, and so on. And she's seeing a difference between church age, kingdom age, and age of Melchizedek way of looking at that book. I'm summarizing what I was hearing. And we're going to tie this all together in a moment. I'm going to ask Lydia to restate for the entire bench here, all present now. Actually, I think I'm going to answer Cindy's question first, and then we'll go back to Lydia because I really see that as the answer to the question. The Lion Gate is open. Cindy, that was a really, really good question. Not being in fear of what's going on in our time. The revelation of Jesus Christ has three purposes to it that I see. One has to do with the order of events that are going to happen on the earth. That's not the major one. The major one, well, let's begin with this. The book is called The Revelation of Jesus Christ. Christ is King. The Lion is King. So it's revelation of us as the King, which is the Lion. Once you get that, the fear goes because you're in the driver's seat. If you're not the victim, you're the victor. Yeshua is revealed as the overcoming, victorious King that defeats absolutely everything, including sin and death, and absolutely every man who is aligned against the Lion. By the end of that book, everyone who is in rebellion, active rebellion against the lion, is dead. And then there comes the great white throne, where everyone who has died faces eternal judgment. And so eventually everything is cleaned up. The surface of the earth by the end of this time is absolutely completely cleaned up with any enemies. Anyone who's functioning in agreement with the father of lies, who came as the serpent and caused, well, was not caused, but tempted Adam to fall into sin, and sin brought death into the world. And by the end of the revelation of Jesus Christ, all these things are overcome. Sin has been removed. The Lamb takes the sin. The Lamb of God removes the sin of the world. The death is cast into the lake of fire. The beast, the false prophet, death, the serpent. I'm missing something somewhere. The serpent, and anyway, all the 5 major enemies are all defeated and in the lake of fire by the end of the revelation of Jesus Christ. So the first thing is that I'm mentioning is this overall, what are we to expect? But it's entirely victorious. It's not about us being defeated at all. It's about us overcoming entirely. Anyone who, there's two resurrections mentioned in the revelation of Jesus Christ. The resurrection of the first resurrection, which is the resurrection of the martyrs, they win, right? The reason they were martyred was because they didn't fear death. They'd gotten rid of the fear of death, because fear is the first thing you have to get rid of. Then you can get rid of death. You can't get rid of death if you haven't gotten free from the fear of death. If you've got fear of death, then you are under all these, the world system, and instead of being victorious, you're under it. Okay, so getting rid of fear is the first thing, and then second thing is actually conquering it and destroying it, putting it in the lake of fire. You see Yeshua in the revelation of Jesus Christ as the forerunner of all this overcoming, victorious kingship, as well as priesthood, which saves from everything, and high priesthood, which is in the book of Hebrews, which saves to the uttermost. It saves from death. Okay, and then we, as followers of Yeshua as the forerunner, enter into absolutely all the same identities that he enters into, beginning with Christ's headship, because at the point of his death, burial, resurrection, ascension, sitting down on the throne, he has already been crowned as king and has been functioning as a crowned king on the earth. But once he sits down upon that throne, he is a coronated king in heavenly realms, and he's in full and absolute kingship, which is the lion. The lion, it is King of Kings. I mean, like, there's absolutely no king anywhere that can stand up against you. So that's what the revelation of Jesus Christ is about in a nutshell. Does that answer what you were questioning, Cindy?
Yes, Bill. That was really a thorough overview. It's just some questions, and even I have some questions about the rapture, like the so-called rapture that people are talking about. And oh, Jesus is coming soon.
Yeah.
And I just haven't been, I don't know why, that's not been resonating with me. And please correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
It just not been resonating with me that Jesus is standing at the door at this very moment, at any second. I'm not feeling that. I could be wrong, and I stand corrected by any of you if you're feeling the exact opposite.
No. Go ahead.
It's sorry, I'm losing my train of thought, but it's just interesting and fascinating to me, the whole book of Revelation. But other than that, I totally receive everything you just said.
Yeah.
I've
Okay.
been wondering some of the same things, and I was wondering if the rapture wasn't more of us ascending up. There's more ascension groups now than I've ever heard of.
Yeah, that's good, Karen. We ascend up, but not on a repeated basis, on a permanent basis, so that we are dwelling both in earth and in heaven. But chapter 19 of the Revelation of Jesus Christ, Yeshua comes back as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, riding on the white horse, and the armies of God are riding on the same white horse. They're dressed the same way. They look just like him. They have the same functions. So I don't see us being raptured out of this mess that we were just about ready to sink down in the quicksand and about ready to go under. And then Yeshua comes and rescues us in the rapture. It's not that at all. He comes back for a victorious and spotless bride who's been entirely and completely cleaned up, is not functioning in sin at all, and joins him in coming back. So when he comes back, we come back. And in the fullest sense of coming. Yeah, so Cindy,
Bill,
yeah,
if I could just say, that was what you just said was confirmation, and I'm glad that this is recorded,
yeah,
because people need to know that his so-called second coming, he's coming back with us somehow. I mean, I don't know how all that's going to play out,
yeah.
but what you just spoke is exactly it. We become the fearless, shining ones with him, so that by the time he comes, there is a complete overthrow and ushering in of the new heaven and the new earth.
Yeah.
We are the ones ushering that in.
Yes, exactly. That's our mandate to do all that. Absolutely correct. Now, the church age church needs, well, the Ecclesia as a whole needs to come into this understanding of what the, well, let me just back up. There's all kinds of misunderstandings, wrong doctrine about the revelation of Jesus Christ, which means there's all kinds of wrong doctrine about who he is, but not so much who he is, but how that applies to us. Most believers are waiting for him to do all this stuff, when the reality is that he's revealed as being the forerunner who is forerunning all this stuff. Then we follow him into it, and we do all this stuff with him, but he doesn't do it without us. That's the thing. All this waiting on him to do something. If he was going to do something, he would have done it before 2,000 years. It's been a mess for a long, long time. So it was just a matter of alleviating the suffering by something that he could do. Just push the button and fix it. He would have done it. It's the headship is ours to do these things. That's what's missing in much of what the believers have been taught. So there's a whole lot of trading out of old wrong doctrine that has to happen, followed by us doing the journey into the new doctrine and then getting to the place where we actually have the power to do it. I'm realizing this last couple of days where it speaks in John about the Son of Man executes judgment. I realized, and especially thinking about judgment unto death, executing it, there's a whole lot of villains out there right now functioning in a lot of different places. And my desire has been, well, why don't we just take them out? And I realized, first off, my attitude's wrong. I mean, it's not that it's completely wrong, but it's got to be fine-tuned to where I'm functioning according to the heart of God and not according to my own anger. And I realized I haven't been given the authority to push that button, and for good reason. I wasn't ready for it yet, but we are going to come to the place that we do have the authority to push that button. The Son of God, as the Son of God, we resurrect the dead. As the Son of Man, we execute judgment. Judgment is guilty or not guilty. That's step one. Step two is, here's the sentence: life sentence, in prison for so many years, or death. And then the Son of Man executes judgment, which means that's when it happens. And if it's a death sentence, it happens at the moment that the Son of Man executes the death sentence. Okay, so that is what's missing on our part, is the ability to execute judgment. We've been doing some of that, but not to the fullness of what we're meant to do that. Lorna is going to be joining us here in just a moment. I see her. You can push her. There you go. Okay, so any further dialogue on that before we come back to Lydia sharing her encounter as seeing the lion gate being open. Hi, Lorna.
Morning. I didn't think I was going to be able to make it, but I did.
We're so glad. We'd already been told that you weren't going to, but that's absolutely wonderful. We're glad that you're here.
Good morning.
Morning. Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. Summary.
I
Lydia
do have,
Go ahead. Yeah.
I do have something, Bill,
Go
on just one thing that I really felt when, you were talking about the revelation. I still think there's a lot more we don't understand
Oh yeah.
on that. And I don't think we're going to go under. It looks bleak, but from my point of view, just to have a different, something else to think about. I believe we are going to turn this around. I don't believe that the rapture or he's coming soon. I see it as at least another couple hundred years. But I see this, we're going to turn this around. There's going to be a golden age, and then we're going to drop into some tough times, and then come back with Jesus later on. I don't see this right now as part of what's written in Revelation. I just don't. In my spirit, I just don't see it. And so I just wondered, what your thoughts on that were, because it's a difficult subject to get a handle on for everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, Jill.
Yeah.
I think we're going to turn this around.
Yeah, I do too. I do have my moments when I need to pop out of it.
Yeah, me too. But
how much news you've been
something in my
watching
spirit
recently.
just keeps me.
Yeah. Okay. Frankly, I haven't concentrated really on trying to identify what's going on the earth and correlating it with particular things in the revelation of Jesus Christ, because my emphasis has been on, I need to come into full identity, just like Yeshua, and I need to come into full power to function in that identity. So I'm not concentrating on that correlation of this chapter must be fulfilled right now kind of thing. But what I do see is chapter 20, part of chapter 20 talks about the 1,000 years, which may or may not be literal, but specifically the 1,000 years has to do with us functioning as kings and priests. And we are functioning as kings and priests. The 1,000 years begins with the first resurrection, which is the resurrection of the martyrs. So Jane and I and others have been on the bench, on Promised Land bench, and you're there, have dialogued about this, about where are we with respect to the 1,000 years? And the answer seems to be that yes, we are, and no, we're not. Because we are functioning as kings and priests, and yet I'm not too sure that I've seen the first resurrection yet, though maybe it is already having been done. I've done work on that myself. In fact, I pushed the button on that last night. So for the entire book to fully come to its end, this 1,000-year thing, when Satan is cast into the bottomless pit, and there's a really, really wonderful period of time where we get this thing under control, because the prime cause of all that's been going on is put on the bench and on the sideline for that 1,000-year period of time. That is a place I'm really, really interested in discerning exactly where we are with respect to that, and what remains to be done to put them in the bottomless pit on the earth timeline for everybody, not just for us, and fully function as kings and priests. during that period of time, that then you recognize that at the end of that time, there's a time in which he's let out, and the whole thing goes. It's one more round of him recruiting an army and recruiting a whole work against an Antichrist function, and recruiting a whole army working with him, after which that whole army is completely defeated and destroyed and killed. And at that point, those enemies who have not yet been cast into the lake of fire are cast into the lake of fire, and at that point everything's cleaned up. So to answer your question in a nutshell, the thing that really, really interests me is where are we with respect to the 1,000 years? Because it has to do with kings and priests, and we are definitely functioning as kings and priests in a way that I don't think has happened since a long time ago, or maybe not at all.
Some of us are functioning as kings and priests.
Yes, those are.
So we're going to need the rest of the body, or nation, as I like to call it, step into that.
Yeah, those in the church age are not yet there. Those in the kingdom age are not yet there. Those who are in the age of Melchizedek are coming into it.
Yeah, there's a lot more though past the age of Melchizedek.
Yes, there is. Yeah, and starting into an age where you begin in that age is a whole different thing from ending with an age.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's all sort of like, I feel like I'm tossing a salad,
is it making a mess?
Yes, it is. It's making a mess.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to dialogue about that before we come back to Lydia's?
Anybody else want to make a mess out of the book of Revelation? And their own discernment. It just
all I can say is I've questioned Yeshua about it. I've asked him, are you coming soon? And I felt as though, and this is more than one time I've asked him, am I off base here? And he said, no, I am not coming just yet. So I'm just, and I don't know, maybe I need the courage to speak to those who are in the church age that I love dearly, to say to them, yes, that is written, stuff alluding to that is written, but right now, the intent that this escapism need to escape and get away from the badness of whatever is going on in the earth, to me, it's an escapist thing that I want to run. I want to run away.
Yep.
I agree.
And I want to disappear. I want to get out of here before anything else happens. Right. And so, but where's the abundant life and all the things that Yeshua has promised all of us? It hasn't even happened yet. So God is not the author of confusion. Either he's going to take us all out of here right now, or we're going to have the faith to stand and receive the promises of God now.
Yeah, abundant life, by the way, abundance is the fifth archstone, and it's the capstone of the age of peace.
Yes, indeed.
That's further up there. Yeah, there is a rapture but not in the sense of rescued from the mess. Paul speaks in a moment, twinkling an eye, all that are not yet dead at that time are, and I see that as happening after the 1,000 years. At that point, that is just before the second resurrection, which it is the second resurrection. Those who have died are raised, and those who are living are changed. That all happens in a moment, twinkling an eye, at the last trumpet, immediately followed by the great white throne for those who have not already gone there on their own while they're living. Because we've seen very clearly that you can get all that out of the way right now, and receive the full benefit of that judgment, freeing you up to move on. but those who have died and have not died in the as a martyr are waiting the second resurrection, which is immediately followed by judgment at the great white throne. So there is a rapture. It's just not going to be a rescue. We get it all sorted out before that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much of the book of Revelation is symbolic is also something that really
Yeah.
that I'm constantly concerned about when I read it. You know, how much of it is symbolic? How much do we take literally? How much this, you know?
Yeah.
So there's, I think,
Yes,
I really think we're going to look back in 2 years on our conversation and think, wow, I didn't quite get what that book was all about. I mean, I think as time goes on, because it's accelerated, that we'll have a lot more understanding on it in 2
Yeah.
years, even in just 2 years.
Yeah, we've made a good beginning, and it's going to result in a lot of acceleration.
Yeah, maybe I share what
Yes.
I heard that the head of Cabal is gone, it's dead. And the head of Freemason, Prince, was it Philip? Is dead as well.
There's cleanup going on. I don't know exactly the answer on that or not, but I wouldn't be surprised. Lydia, do you want to share what you shared earlier about the Lion Gate being open? Because this is the answer to everything here, I think.
Yeah, so okay, what I experienced, I think 2 weeks ago, was I was soaking at a huge fountain, and then it was the golden water, and then I just enjoy myself and soaking, and suddenly I gave out this roar, that trembling. I have never seen this kind of roar before. And then I released the word that I will shake not only the earth, I will also shake the heaven. That was my personal encounter. And this week, when I'm in a group ascension, I saw this huge lion, giant lion, on the throne, and he's just very still. He's not moving or doing anything at all. And all the animals are coming out, and like in a peaceful way. And I see this lion, it's not in a usual color, it's like in a diamond color, and it's releasing frequencies, like peaceful frequency, harmony. And so all the animals are in a harmonious atmosphere. And after that, I see that this lion become like particles. It's not in solid form anymore. And then all these animals come into this lion, like become one particle. So there's like oneness. And when this animal go out, it can turn into the whole animal again, but when it comes into this lion, it becomes just a particle. And then when this lion give out a roar, it's a roar of all the frequencies of the all beings, like all creation, and it's in oneness. And it's very powerful. And I start to become like this lion, like I don't do so much because I feel that we have that frequency, that can change the atmosphere and make changes to the world. Yeah.
Awesome, Lydia. What did anybody else see or sense as Lydia was talking?
I was on another ascension, and we didn't see the lion, but we saw ourselves being the portal.
Mm. Mm.
Everybody is talking. Okay, when I was at the waterfall, I didn't know what happened. I didn't have full understanding, but this week I'm hearing everybody is talking about the lion gate open, and some people are feeling uncomfortable because actually the whole world, the frequency has raised. So people who are at the lower frequency, they are having adjustment. Yeah, so this is like a whole world movement. Like when we increase in frequency, and the rest of the beings, you know, are being restored, and we are all vibrating at a higher frequency now, and we can bring others to a higher frequency as well. But I also hear some that couldn't make it, you know. But I'm thinking that, you know, it's actually a good thing.
Mm.
Yeah. So the false refuge of people, you know, the false, whatever that is false, are going to fall off. So it's an adjustment that people have to go through, because they were clinging on the false thing before.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about a gate is you have to go through it. And those who haven't gone through it are going to be left behind, is what it is. And those who do go through it will continue on.
But I know my purpose. I know I'm only going to train the lions, to wake up the lions.
Yeah.
I don't convince people at all, because that's not my job. And these lions, which is awakened, they are going to bring in, they are going to do, you know, the multiplication, because I've been seeing like sunflower, you know, which has, you know, like a lot of seeds, you know, fruit with a lot of seeds. So, and I also saw myself spreading golden seeds in heaven. So I think this is what is happening. I see it's a positive sign. We have to keep encouraging people, what we see, you know, as a positive thing, and some will get it and some might not get it, but it's just a matter of time.
Yep. More and more will still get it. So, yeah. Anybody seeing any governmental action here? Anything that we need to do?
Bill, and particularly Lorna. Lorna, I know that we talked over certain things concerning the fear that is upon the church age and the earth right now. And I can't remember everything that we spoke. Maybe you can add to this, but I think also if we could take this further with the group here today, if we could arc over the entire Ecclesia, to step out of that fear and to step into the understanding of that every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Lord, that's what we should be stepping into. and also concerning the gate that Lydia is talking about. That is really resonating with me, that we need to know what gate is open and what is the timeline for what we should be doing right now. I don't know if that's resonating, but maybe more of you could speak to that.
Lorna, did you want to talk about the fear thing? You want to share any more on that? Add to that?
Well, when Cindy and I were talking yesterday, I just said to her, it's amazing how what we are experiencing regarding a certain friend of ours is indicative of what is going on in the body of Christ in the Ecclesia. And that revelation just came through conversation. And so it's amazing how Father is using personal examples of what issues are, and then how they relate to the masses in general. So the point that I'm making is that we have to walk in more discernment and walk in a higher level of love, because at the end of the day, it all boils down to love. And everything that the world is going through, which is fear-based, which is an evil agenda, it's the love of the Father that's going to help them to overcome that. So in addition to what what we will be releasing governmentally, it's also that they will accept the Father in his magnitude, in his role of Father, and accept his love as well.
Okay. I had a dream this morning, and the summary of the dream was that of the need to move into the fear of the Lord. And so when you're talking about fear, I see two fears. I mean, there's fear of everything else, and then there's fear of the Lord. It's like you trade out of all the other fears and into the fear of the Lord. Recognizing that the fear of the Lord is the spirit of the fear of the Lord. That's part of it, because I've seen a couple of weeks ago that the process of victory over something, first off, you come to be set free from fear of that thing, and then you can overcome it. As long as you're in fear of it, you can't overcome it. It's like a two-step process. You get free from the fear of it first. So let's use it with the biggest one, death, right? Fear of death, and then overcoming death. So you get free from the fear of death first, and then you can overcome death. So I see that as a two-step process. Go ahead, Cindy.
Bill, what you just said just triggered something. It's almost like, okay, when we speak of the fear of the Lord, I am encountering certain, and in fact, all through my involvement with the church age, it's almost like the fear of the Lord is an unnatural fear of God, to the point where they don't know how to love God or receive the love of God. Or trust God. When I say fear, it's like it's a constant fear of going to hell and losing salvation, and I'm going to die and go to hell. That is the fear that when we say fear of the Lord, I think our definition of fear of the Lord and their understanding of fear of the Lord is something different. My understanding of fear of the Lord means respect of God. As a mature understanding. But what we're talking about here that is on folks from the church age, they are in an abnormal fear that everything they do is being like God is a big ogre waiting to smash them like a cockroach, and just, the minute they do something wrong, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about.
I call it the awe of the Lord.
Yes.
The awe.
I love that too.
Awe and
Yes,
wonder.
Bill.
Awe and
Yes,
wonder.
Bill.
Awe of the Lord. I
And-
asked the God as well. I say, how come I'm not fearful of you the more I know you? And yeah, actually he said, the fear of the Lord, it's actually awe of the Lord.
I think
Yeah.
the fear of the Lord is simply meant to bring us to a place of trading out of dead works. That's the purpose of it. It's to help us get cleaned up. It's not to keep us away from him.
Because the church has been operating in this way, by human, that this is witchcraft, any form of control is witchcraft. When you want, they use hell to frighten people. If you don't come to my group, you're going to hell. And then they also, tell people that, the God is such an image, and to push people further away, to separate people from God. But what I have been doing recently, people who ask me to pray, I don't know how to pray. So I tell them that I don't know how to pray unless it's led by the Spirit. And I tell them they have the power, they have the authority. And yeah, I mean, just a change of concept, they will change, yeah, or else, the church people are always looking for people to pray for them only.
Yep.
I think I changed a lot of mindset, and now everybody is saying, yeah, I want to take authority, I want to do it myself.
That's good. That's really, really good. And that is a good measure of where somebody is. Authority is age of Melchizedek, and please pray for me is got church age left in it still. Yeah. Okay. So
I think sometimes though, when you're asking people to pray, you just been so beaten up, you just can't think straight.
yeah.
And so it's not because you're in the church age or, it's just that you need help.
Yeah, that's true. And Lydia's approach is correct. You help the person to move into the place of functioning in their own authority so they can handle that situation on their own. Not that it's on their own, but that they see. Go ahead, Jill.
I'm sorry, that they need, that they know that they can, know that they can. And like Karen said, there are people who are operating out of the age of Melchizedek, but they've just had so much go on in their life, and especially recently. And I go back to the power of the group, the power of the community.
Yep.
It's not just a one person deliverance show anymore, or preaching show or praying show. It's everybody working together in a community of love.
Yeah.
And awe and wonder, and know that we can get through it together. I mean, so.
And I have to admit that even when I'm not church age, I do come to places where I've done everything I know how to do, and I still got a problem.
Right. That keeps us together.
Yeah.
That keeps us, and yeah.
And I can come to somebody else for help. Well, did you see what is missing here? What am I not doing that I'm supposed to do? I mean, I got all this understanding, but something's obviously not clicking here, or I wouldn't have this problem. And I think in some cases, none of us yet knows the answers to some things. We just haven't yet seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Karen, for bringing that up. And thank you, Jill, for clarifying that. Okay, what can we do as governmental action for ourselves as a bench? And actually, I realized we actually didn't remind ourselves that we're sitting on the bench, but we are always. To bring this bench out of what it needs to come out of and into what it needs to come into, as well as functioning on behalf of the universal ecclesia with respect to this. Let's take it one piece at a time. How can we get free from fear? Not the fear of the Lord, but the fear of anything else, any other kind of fear.
You know, I hear the word trust. Trusting him goes a long way. Being grateful. But I do see us also just calling forth the, you know, the one nation through that portal.
One nation, Israel, which is an overcoming nation. Go on. I'm sorry, somebody else gonna say something.
If I feel I have some fear, I know it's an indication that I'm not vibrating at the higher level frequency. I will do more communion, Holy Communion. Or
Okay.
I will do some gates cleansing, and yeah.
Okay. I do
Those
see
days,
also, go ahead.
yeah, those days I have those fear moment more than vibrating at a higher frequency. But now I'm vibrating at a higher frequency most of the time. So, you know, when I vibrate at a lower frequency, I know.
Okay. I saw myself as you were talking going through being stripped from fear. I was going through something like a gate or something. And as I did so, fear was being stripped off of me and left behind. So it was on the other side and not on the side that I was on now. I'm wondering if that lion gate
That would be
strips us
great.
free from fear.
Yes, yes. I also wanted to say, Bill, that as everybody was talking, the scripture that was coming to me was, oh, magnify the Lord, for he is worthy to be praised. And I saw the Lord being magnified where he became bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And he overshadowed everything that was causing the fear. He literally became like more than a giant. He became the universe that all of us focused on, and the fear was completely obliterated because all we could see was this magnified Yeshua.
Awesome. Awesome. I think if everybody agrees, we'll bring ourselves and the bench through the lion gate, and then I'm going to pass the baton to you, Cindy, to do the magnifying of the Lord. Is that okay as a start?
Yes, it'll be fine.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, hi, Laura. I'm sorry we didn't acknowledge you as you came. Welcome.
No problem. Love y'all. Glad I could join.
Love you too. Just wanted to acknowledge you.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so the lion gate is open. Let's go through as a bench as well as individually through the lion gate. So just simply picture that lion gate and step through it. On the other side is this magnification of the Lord. So go through the gate. Leave fear behind. Let it be stripped off of you. And Cindy, you want to take it from there and magnify the Lord?
Yes, so Father, we just thank you that even as we walk through the lion gate, we just encounter you as a colossal lion even. And in your person, I feel like we're to step into you as that lion, not just go through the gate, but step into you as the colossal lion. And so we magnify you And we glorify your name because you are, in fact, worthy to be praised more than the fear is worthy to be looked upon any longer. And so we turn our gaze from the fear and from whatever is happening in the earth realm, and we step into the fullness of your frequency, the fullness of your colossal presence right now, shadowing everything that it has overtaken the earth for but a moment. And so we just thank you, Father, because you dwarf everything else in your wake, in this gate, in this place. We thank you, Father.
While you were doing that, I sensed that well, you know, the lion is king, is full kingship, and so there's kingship as Christ, Yeshua as Christ, and there's kingship as God as King, and both those aspects are in that lion in its fullness.
Yes.
Us one with it, stepping fully into that kingship authority. It changes our gaze. It's like we were looking at the gate and looking at the lion to enter into the lion. But when you enter into the lion, your gaze turns around and now you're looking at those on the other side of the gate, part of bringing them in. But it's a complete different thing. You're, instead of looking at the lion, you're looking out through the eyes of the lion.
I sense we became one with the lion.
Yep. Yep.
I agree.
And our focus was shifted.
Yep.
And the lion came into clear view.
Yep.
Sorry, Bill. No, I was going to say that I sense that when I was looking out through the eyes of the lion, my eyes were eyes of fire, fiery darts. Wow. Like flames of fire. I'm seeing flames of fire, fiery darts. Like wherever I gaze, that fire is focused on whatever I look upon.
Awesome. Jill, you had a sense to bring us into nation. That's interesting. I hadn't seen that before the way I'm seeing it right now. Individually overcoming as the lion is one thing, but becoming a nation of overcomers as the lion is a second level of higher level of headship. It's a corporate headship. The nation is a corporate headship. Corporate headship of all those who are overcomers, who are lions. You want to bring us as a bench into that corporate function as the lion, which is nation?
Yes, so I call forth the bench. Well, let me say this. I think it's more than just the bench, though, Bill.
Keep going, yeah.
So I call forth our bench and all others who are willing, who have their hearts open. We call you forth into the one nation of overcomers. And we judge the fear.
Okay, as the
We judge
one
you
nation.
to life. We judge all to life.
That's good. Keep going, Jill. You got more.
I would say, where are we judging from?
Okay, that's a good question. So you're sensing immediately as we step into that there's a judgment of the fear that we can do. It's the fear in the Ecclesia, and of course the world enters into the Ecclesia as well. I mean, all of mankind is what I'm trying to say. Judgment of the fear. And your question was, where do we judge from? And the answer is, this is full Christ headship. You know, the body of Christ grows up into the head. This is full Christ headship, functioning as the one nation, which is a corporate lion of corporate overcomers. And we can judge fear as that lion. Okay, so we're in corporate headship as the lion. That's part of the answer. Now, is there anything else that answers that as far as heavenly realms? I'm not sure yet as to, because I've been seeing everything in terms of headship recently, as far as realms, as opposed to realms or something. Such an emphasis on headship. I wonder if City of Zion has to do with this. I have a sense that it does. Anybody else getting a sense of where exactly are functioning from when we judge fear in the Ecclesia?
Shouldn't it be from a seat of rest?
Certainly needs that, yeah.
You know what? I think there's more. I mean, seat of rest is not, I don't think it's our best.
No, it's included though.
Yeah, it's included.
Are we in fact judging from the lion's gate? Are we in fact judging from that portal to bring others through the gate, through the portal, to go through? I remember there was a Jewish song years ago, and they kept repeating, go through the gate. Just go through.
What I sense is the lion doesn't have to do anything. He's just being very still there. But his body is vibrating with all the frequencies that brings everything into oneness.
Oh, as you're talking, Lydia, I think we actually become the gate. You know how we're gates in many different ways. I think there's one more way that we become a gate. We become the lion gate.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I also see the frequencies emitting to the people in the earth, calling them in.
Yep.
What I saw when we stepped through the lion's gate was actually a huge lion's head and body, and we all walked in through his mouth. So we were walking through the lion's mouth, and then we became part of the lion, and we could see through his eyes and calling people forth. So we became part of the lion's gate. We also became part of the lion itself.
That was key, Laura, that the emphasis is on the mouth. That's where the entrance is. That's also where the roar comes from too. I'm picturing myself as the door frame. I mean, I am the gate. And I'm facing back towards those who have not yet come in, as opposed to facing forward towards the rest of the journey. The function of the lion is towards those who haven't yet come into the lion. Can we judge Cindy says, I saw an entering through the lion's mouth as well. Okay, confirmation. Thank you, Cindy. Very good for sharing that. Thank you. Can we, Joe, can we judge, not knowing all the details of where we are, but can we simply judge the fear off of the ecclesia as the lion? In other words, do we have enough of just a simple sense of who we are to be able to do that? I always picture a gavel in my hand when I'm judging, and I pound it down on a judge pounds it down. And in this case, I think the judgment would be on the fear that it must go. It's like almost like in a very, very high sense, casting fear out of the ecclesia.
I get a feeling that as I roar, it's the vibrational frequency that actually pulls up the root cause of the fear.
Okay.
And then that, and once you get rid of the root cause, it diminishes.
Okay. I know we've roared as a lion before, but not in this fullness of this level of authority that we have now. I was trying to avoid roaring as a lion in the way we've done before.
Maybe
but
we don't actually have to do the roar, but actually be the frequency of the roar.
Send forth the roar, yeah. Okay, so in the gate, as the lion facing back towards the ecclesia, send out that frequency of that roar, which sets people free from fear. It's like it strips it right off them. Can you picture yourself just functioning like a fire hose, and you're just cleaning it off of them? Cleaning it out of them. You have a judgment sense also. Go ahead and function as a judge to judge that fear. Command it gone. Lydia says, yes, I agree with Karen. The frequency the lion gave out will bring up the whole Earth's frequency. Fear is a low level frequency. Yep. Anybody seeing anything else?
Even though we were sending out the frequency, I saw the fire from my eyes again.
Ah, you said that function as darts, right?
Yeah, fire, flames of fire, darts, yeah.
You want to lead us in functioning what the flame of fire is coming from our eye?
Yes. So as we are positioned in the lion and we are functioning as the lion, we say yes to the flames of fire. I also heard now to the fiery ones, that we will partner with. So accept the flames of fire, accept the partnership with the fiery ones.
There's a class of angels, the fiery ones. It's a sense. Don't remember the name of them. Maybe often them, I'm not sure. We can now function in the gate here as the lion, functioning with the roar and as with the fiery eyes. I think it's something you're going to need to do, knowing that you're doing it in oneness with the bench. So you don't do it in your own individual. I mean, you can do it in your own personal journey, but you do it as part of the corporate nation, which includes the bench functioning in the nation. If you see what I'm saying, it's a personal function, but it's also a corporate function. Even when you are alone, it's a corporate function. And you can do this by encounter with respect to various situations that involve fear, and various individuals, maybe groups would be better, that are in fear. I'm seeing that it's by encounter there. And Yeah, I agree, Cindy. Cindy says, I sense that we are the fiery ones as well. I sense that as soon as that was being said, that we are the fiery ones. Anything else? This is awesome today, by the way. It's going to take practice over the next 2 weeks. Remembering what we've just done, what we've stepped into, and practicing functioning in it. And if you won't remember to practice functioning in it unless you write it down or make a note to yourself to actually practice functioning. I don't mean practice, I mean remember to function regularly in this function, so it doesn't just get lost in the past of our many recordings. It actually becomes part of our individual function as a corporate group. You follow what I'm saying? It takes follow-up, and the follow-up will not occur unless you right now, before we forget, write down your intention to function as this. Write it down somewhere about how you're going to function in this, and then remember to do it on a daily basis or regular basis until it's part of who you are and what you do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just aware that I have received and functioned a whole lot of benches and a whole lot of encounters, and I have not captured all that into my my regular function. And the reason that didn't happen is entirely my own fault, because I didn't act in such a way that I would capture it. Cindy says the lion's roar is fiery and the frequency gets bigger and bigger. Awesome. Are we complete?
I just want to say, I think that was Lydia that wrote that, but just wanted to share this. The frequency, as we entered into the lion's mouth and became one with the lion completely, and as Lorna was speaking about the fiery darts, the song that came to me, this is an old song that we used to sing years ago, and I felt like the frequency was coming out of my mouth as I sang this song. And it goes like this: oh, magnify the Lord, for he is worthy to be praised. Oh, magnify the Lord, for he is worthy to be praised. Hosanna, blessed be the rock. Blessed be the rock of my salvation. Hosanna, blessed be the rock. Blessed be the rock of my salvation. And so as I started singing that song while you all were talking, I felt that song going out into the earth, especially the first part about, oh, magnify the Lord. So
that's
just
awesome. That's awesome, Cindy. You are actually singing that as the Lord.
I received that.
Not to the Lord, but as the Lord.
Yes.
In oneness with him, right?
Yes.
The seven spirits of God bring us to a place. The first one is the Spirit of the Lord. The seventh is the Spirit of the fear of the Lord. Those seven spirits of God bring us to the place of functioning in oneness with the Lord as the Lord, which is why we turned around and faced back as the gate, as a lion in the gate, is because you are functioning, or at least in an aspect of being the Lord. The Lord is Yod He Vav He, right? And it's lion, ox, eagle, man. And this is the fullness of the lion part of being the Lord. There's more to it than just being the lion, but it's a big part of it. And
yes, indeed, because I felt like the lion was singing the song.
There you go. Yeah.
The lion was singing that song to the earth. Yep.
And that is what you were asking about initially, this whole change of perspective, the Ecclesia having the change of perspective from waiting on God to do all these things, to us being God, being Lord, being fill in all those names, and we do them with him in oneness with him. That's a complete different perspective. And that is the purpose of the revelation of Jesus Christ. Yeshua is revealed as the king in that book so that we become the king. That's the whole point. Okay, I'm going to turn recording off.